JD Vance recently topped this performance, if you can believe that. Wait, what? No way. There's no way he topped that last performance. What is this man on, bro? He drank the dumbass juice. I'm saying it. Yeah, Vance says he does not like the comments Laura Loomer made on Kamala Harris's Indian heritage. Here's Vance also committing a little bit of hate speech right here, okay? Get ready for it. Brilliant guy. Generational run for just, you know, a dude that people hate more every time they see him.
I want to shift to another topic. I've been talking to allies of former President Trump who are frankly outraged. They're alarmed that Donald Trump has been traveling with Laura Loomer. She is someone who says she supports white nationalism. She spread conspiracy theories, including that the September 11th attacks are an inside job. She recently said that Kamala Harris, whose mother was Indian, if she wins in November, quote, the White House will smell like curry. Senator, you are married to an Indian American woman. What was your reaction to hearing those comments specifically?
Well, Kristen, I want to go back to what you said about Haitian migrants to begin with, because you didn't give me a chance to respond. Look, we don't blame the Haitian migrants for coming to Springfield. We blame Kamala Harris for opening the American southern border and inviting 20,000 people to get dropped in a small Ohio town. Now, you asked about Laura Loomer. Look, Laura Loomer is not affiliated with the Trump campaign. She said something about curry in the White House that I first read about this morning, actually, because I knew that you would ask me about it. Look, Kristen, I make a mean chicken curry. I don't think that it's insulting for anybody to talk about their dietary preferences or what they want to do in the White House. I think what Laura said about Kamala Harris is not what we should be focused on. We should be focused on the policy and on.
Yeah, that's what she was saying. That's crazy, bro. You have no respect for your wife. Like, straight up. You're such a piece of shit. You're such a cowardly little dipshit. You don't give a dog. That's crazy. Bro, his wife is literally an Indian woman, okay? That's just straight up like she being like, oh, she's Indian. She smells like curry. That's what she's saying. It's like entry-level racism that like a 12-year-old would say. Like, what are we doing? You think it's actually about the dietary preferences? But wait, there's more. Speaking on dietary preferences.
The issues, not what we share preferences or what they want to do in the White House. I think what Laura said about Kamala Harris is not what we should be focused on. We should be focused on the policy and on the issues. And look, so yeah, do I agree with what Laura Loomer said about Kamala Harris? No, I don't. I also don't think that this is actually an issue of national import. Is Laura Loomer running for president? No. Kamala Harris is running for president. And whether you're eating curry at your dinner table or fried chicken, things have gotten more expensive thanks to her policy.
There's nothing funnier than him being like, yeah, I'm actually going to be anti-black racist as well. Like, why did you say fried chicken there? You couldn't have said hamburgers? Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Why? Like, how bad can it get, dude? He said, I don't think we should be focusing on what Laura Loomer said. But honestly, my criticism of Laura Loomer is that he also didn't bring up fried chicken. Because Kamala Harris is not just Indian. She's a black woman as well. Like, that's literally what he did. He just turned around and was like, here's my trick. I think we should be more diverse in our tactics of racism. That's awesome.
Let's talk about the person running for president of the United States, not a social media personality who supports Donald Trump.
Senator, were you and your wife offended? And do you disavow those comments that even some Trump allies say are blatantly racist?
Kristen, I just told you I don't like those comments, and I think that we ought to be focused on Kamala Harris's policy failures. I also don't look at the
She didn't even say nothing about the fried chicken comment. She would have moved on. JD Vance recently topped this performance, if you can believe that. Wait, what? No way. There's no way he topped that last performance.
Kamala Harris has been chaos all over the world. She can't answer a single question without sounding like a whatever. And she has led, she's had this.
Hello?
Now, by the way,
what the f is he saying? What is this man on, bro? He drank the dumbass juice. Like every time he's on camera, it is alarming how bad he is at his job. Alarming. Libs of TikTok spreads falsehood about Haitian immigrants in Pennsylvania. A Republican state senator who's a fan of Libs of TikTok is like, hey, that's my region. What you're saying is not true.
With close to 500 patriots in the state of Michigan in this building right now and outside, I'd like to see an assassin try to come in this room. They come to the wrong place if you try to walk into this place right now. By the way, with close to 500 patriots in the state of Michigan in this building right now and outside, I'd like.
This is so funny. Bro, he's so lame that even like psychos who want to make a name for themselves give enough of a fuck to kill him or attempt to kill him. Like, ain't nobody trying to kill you, little bro. It's not happening, okay? Stop begging for it. He's like, come on, please, 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 please. It'd be so sick. That's crazy. When you're such a loser that people don't even care enough to try and kill you. Also, if somebody tried to kill him, or if somebody successfully killed him, Trump would celebrate.
Try to come in this room. They come to the wrong.
Trump would literally celebrate if somebody tried to kill him. If he actually was killed, he would be like, oh, thank God, dude. Thank God I made a mistake. Also, here's Donald Trump.
The Democrats say, please don't call them animals. They're humans. I said, no, they're not humans. They're not humans. They're animals. The Democrats say, please don't call them animals. They're humans. I said, no, they're not humans. They're not humans. They're animals. The Democrats say, please don't call them animals. They're humans. I said, no, they're not humans.
The hate crime shit is going to get so much worse, by the way.
You said this, quote, Trump makes people I care about afraid, immigrants, Muslims, etc. Because of this, I find him reprehensible. God wants better of us. This week in Springfield, buildings were closed because of bomb threats. Haitian immigrants say they are afraid for their lives. Are you now doing the very thing you once called reprehensible, Senator?
Well, first of all, Kristen, we condemn all acts of violence and all threats of violence. But, Kristen, the reason that I changed my mind on Donald Trump is actually perfectly highlighted by what's going on in Springfield, because the media and the Kamala Harris campaign, they've been calling the residents of Springfield racist. They've been lying about them. They've been saying that they make up these reports of migrants eating geese, and they completely ignore the public health disaster that is unfolding in Springfield at this very minute.
Senator, what about the Haitian immigrants who say...
I mean, the media's not calling the Springfielders racist. They're calling you racist. They probably should call the Springfielders... I mean, it's probably better that they're not calling the Springfielders racist, because Americans get really touchy about that sort of thing. Like, you'll have a dude, you know, reciting their new copy of Mein Kampf, and you'll be like, hey, man, what are you, a Nazi? They'll be like, whoa, 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 whoa! Whoa! How dare you? Excuse me? I'm simply reading the prominent works of a German author. I'm a goddamn patriot, ma'am. There's nothing funnier than just like objectively racist white people in America getting so ass mad when you call them racist.
It's just to mean discrimination and xenophobia and bigotry and racism.
How scared are Haitian immigrants in Springfield after hearing former President Trump's claims?
They are scared for their lives. Some of them are asking me, even yesterday I got a friend calling me asking me if he has to leave because he's scared for his life. So another friend told me that it seems that he would have had some family coming to visit him, but it seems that he gonna welcome them in Columbus or Dayton, because it is not safe right now for him in Springfield to welcome his family here.
What do you make of these claims? What does it feel like to hear politicians make these false accusations?
It's very shocking and sad at the same time, especially coming from people seeking the high office of our land. High-ranking people, I think they should do better. They have everything at their disposal to check the veracity of anything that they hear. They say that they are high-educated people who attended great university. I mean, they know how to check something to see the veracity of it.
JD Vance has some more wild shit in this interview. Oh my God. What else?
I forget exactly which official it was within the European Union, but sent Elon this threatening letter that basically said, we're going to arrest you if you platform Donald Trump, who, by the way, is the likely next president of the United States. So what America should be saying is, oh, if NATO wants us to continue supporting them, and NATO wants us to continue to be a good participant in this military alliance, why don't you respect American values and respect free speech? Excuse me, it's insane that we would support a military alliance if that military alliance isn't going to be pro-free speech. I think we can do both, but we've got to say American power comes with certain strings attached. One of those is respect free speech, especially in our Europe.
He's like, no, you have to let people say and do hate crimes. Like you literally, it's not even just about like American free speech. You have to be able to openly sig heil in Germany if you want our support. Now, of course, that's really stupid for him to say because, like, obviously our loyalty to NATO goes above and beyond and far beyond whatever, like, either party is saying at any given moment. You know, as you know, there is always bipartisan support for American imperialism, and NATO, of course, is one of the most consequential vectors of said imperialism. Was it even NATO? He said EU. No, he's talking about NATO. You are an L. Shut the fuck up. Oh, hell yeah. We got some Republicans in the chat. Imagine having to defend this guy.
European allies. Like, look, I'm not going to go to some backwoods country and tell them how to live their lives, but European countries should theoretically share American values, especially about some very basic things like free speech. The leader, I forget exactly which official it was within the European Union, but sent Elon.
That's awesome.
Because Donald Trump believes, Kristen, let me finish this point, Kristen, and feel free to follow up. Donald Trump is the only person who brought Springfield to national attention and is the only president who's going to fight for the residents, not just their right to live.
What's really funny is Donald Trump brought Springfield to national attention, and also now they're getting bomb threats. It's kind of wild that he's just like saying, this little town that sucks and I hate them, even though they're my constituents, and I haven't served them well, is now in prominent display of the entire American Nazi movement. And now they're just getting consistent bomb threats. Why? Because I fabricated stories about the Haitian migrants there, you know, in an effort to get people to pay attention. What did they do after they started paying attention? Bomb threats.
Safely in their communities, but for their right to complain about what's going on in their own community. I think it's disgraceful that Kamala Harris has heard these complaints, has decided to call people racist instead of actually trying to make their lives better by undoing her open border. But I know you had a question.
Well, and Senator, again, because we're almost out of time, but Haitian immigrants are saying they're afraid for their lives. I want to shift to another topic. I've been talking to allies of former President Trump who are frankly 20 in place. What I hear you're saying is Obamacare stays in place. Let me move to another topic. There was a lot of attention, as you know, this week on former President Trump's baseless claims about migrants eating pets in Springfield, Ohio, claims you first shared online, Senator, earlier this week. Local authorities now say there have been no credible reports of migrants hurting pets or animals. And in fact, neo-Nazis are now taking credit, frankly, for pushing these rumors mainstream. Why are you continuing to double and triple down on these baseless claims?
Well, two important points here, Kristen. First of all, I have heard firsthand from...
It's like two important points. One, those neo-Nazis are my constituents. Two, weirdly enough, those Haitians are not my constituents, even though they technically are. Two important points. Have you considered that I'm a Nazi?
Multiple constituents, people who made 911 calls a month ago, a year ago, who were making these complaints. I trust my constituents more than I do the American media that has shown no interest in what's happened in Springfield until we started sharing cat memes on the internet, which is disgraceful that the American media ignored this town. And that's the most important part.
Bro, you're the senator of Ohio. Like, Springfield being in a state of disrepair is like directly your fault. It's so weird. Like, how are people just acting like he's not the senator? Like, he is not. Dog, you are not some random guy. You are the senator, dude. Like, beyond the goddamn mayor, okay, and the governor, you're like the third responsible guy, okay? You and the representative representing whatever district it lands on are the guys who are responsible at the federal level to bring back funds to Springfield. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, how are you just openly shitting on your own state? Why is nobody asking this question? Like, are you talking about Kamala Harris being the border czar? Okay. And that's valid. I mean, the arguments that you're launching against Kamala Harris are invalid, or the arguments against immigration are invalid. But using that, saying that, like, she's the border czar, she's responsible for the problems that I perceive of immigration, like, okay, well, then you're the czar of Springfield, dog. You're the Ohio czar. Except you're not the Ohio czar. You're the Ohio senator, the term we actually use. You were voted. You were voted into power.
Kamala Harris's open border, Kristen, has led to skyrocketing housing costs in Springfield, rising rates of crime, rising rates of communicable diseases. They have dropped 20,000 immigrants into a town of 40,000, and it's caused a host of social problems. And we should be talking about why Kamala Harris has done this to this small town, and the media and the Democrats ignored it for an entire year. Kristen, I was talking about this on the Senate Banking Committee months ago. Nobody would pay attention to it until we started.
The other question I would ask is, it's your state. You're lying about them spreading communicable diseases. It's like insanely racist that you're saying that. But also beyond that, it didn't seem like you had an issue with bringing in migrants from other states into your project that you launched in Appalachia, the startup farm project that you launched, just like you didn't have a problem underpaying the employees at the time, and then also replacing them with migrant help. So which is it? Like, what's going on here? Because in your personal life, you have done this. You've done the thing that you're complaining about in Springfield, and especially in Springfield, there was a need for extra hands. There was a need for help. That's why the Haitians went there. Whereas you brought in a startup to an area, and then you bust migrants into the area specifically because you didn't want to, you felt like the white Americans weren't doing the job.
Started sharing the 911 calls of people in Springfield saying the migrants are eating the geese.
And yet,
I think that's really, really shameful that no one cared about it or paid attention to it.
And yet, Senator, officials, the mayor, other local officials have said there's just no evidence of what you're saying, that it's baseless, those claims. Can't you just make your argument about immigration without making those claims, Senator? Why not just make an argument about immigration? Why do you have to delve into repeating these baseless claims that, again, Senator, have been repeated by neo-Nazis?
Kristen, I hear you saying that they're baseless, but I'm not repeating them because I invented them out of thin air. I'm repeating them because my constituents are saying these things are happening. I mean,
but
just
no
yesterday,
evidence.
A video came out of a migrant 30 miles away eating a cat. Clearly, these rumors are out.
I like that he just like quintuples down with more fake shit. He's like, no, dog, that's not a real thing that happened. You saw a video, and because you're so goddamn racist, you went with, well, racist and also fully aware that no one will actually care in your constituents. I hate this shit so much, dude. They're such ginormous pieces of shit. The worst part about it is that, like, this is a solid thing to do for immigration. There are so many parts of this country that are in a state of utter disrepair. And, like, the real goal should be integration programs and, like, allowing a lot of these migrants to go there and, like, revitalize these towns. It is a success story every time it happens. There's not a single instance where, like, migrants came in to a state or a city and then that city went to shit. It's actually capitalists that leave the town behind that turned this into a state of disrepair. That's why there's so many forgotten ghost towns in this goddamn country. And then migrants come in and then they work the jobs, and there's, you know, they are the necessary labor force. And then the town starts increasing its taxable revenue, which is exactly what happened in Springfield. 33% increase in taxable revenue in Springfield, Ohio, year over year. Okay. And then now they have more funds. If they don't use all of those funds on the police, even though they usually do, some of those funds go back to community programs and things of that nature, fixing the potholes and the like. Okay. And slowly but surely, these towns actually end up revitalizing themselves. This is precisely what happened in Hazleton, Pennsylvania. This is what's happening in Springfield right now. But these guys are so racist. These guys at the tippy top, Mr. Mine Lolly, right here. They're so, I mean, JD Vance himself is just doing racism for a very specific reason. He doesn't give a shit if someone is Haitian or not. He doesn't give a shit if someone is Indian or not. He went to Yale, okay? He's a goddamn Yale graduate. He had a trans best friend. He called Trump Adolf Hitler like 4 years ago. What the fuck are we talking about? Or not 4 years ago, in 2016, 8 years ago. He's a goddamn grifter. He doesn't give a shit about any of this stuff. He just knows that there are a lot of right-wing idiots out there who will go, hell yeah, brother. It's actually not my boss that's stealing my dollars. It's actually the goddamn Haitian migrant down the street. It's like, you're an idiot. Okay, you're a dumbass. That's it. These guys weaponize racial animus like this to move people away from the main point of contention, like the top of the hour ad break. Okay? They just don't want you to be reminded that at the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break. Now, if you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe. Okay? JD Vance got a former professor to delete a blog post Vance wrote in 2012 attacking GOP over anti-immigrant rhetoric. Yeah, it's the careful, mate. That foreigner wants your cookie. That's the Rupert Murdoch meme. That's it. It's a story as old as time, okay? This is precisely at the heart of the problem. You're experiencing it right now. It's happening right now. So you're maybe hopefully noticing how this works. An example I used to use, or something I used to talk about with like Whedon being insanely anti-refugee, insanely anti-Muslim. And they still are, by the way, but they got this way because of austerity. Okay, they got this way because of austerity. Some of the social safety nets that they used to rely on became increasingly worse. And in that process, a lot of these right-wing charlatans who wanted to make racist, right-wing, anti-immigrant narratives, they flood the market with like anti-Muslim, Islamophobic bullshit. It worked really well. The real problem, obviously, was austerity. It's so funny to think that like this kind of like tribalistic sentiment is the oldest trick in the book, and yet people still just refuse to reckon with it. Okay.
Internet for every single thing to get offended by. I'm running for vice president because I think Kamala Harris has been a disaster and we have to undo her policies. That's what we should be focused on. But by the way, when I say we, I mean the American media. Kamala Harris opened the border. She made food unaffordable. We should be talking about her failure as an American leader, not a social media personality who supports Donald Trump.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the
Meanwhile, from the border, this continues. You got new data revealing more than 1.3 million migrants have been allowed into the U.S. through two controversial Biden-Harris administration programs. Bill Malusian joins us with us on that now from our Midwest Bureau. Bill, what do you have? Good morning.
Bill, good morning to you. Record high illegal crossings down at the southern border have obviously been a huge political headache for the Biden administration. So at the start of 2023, they created two new programs to allow migrants to come into the U.S. legally, bypassing Border Patrol entirely. And according to new CBP data, those Biden programs have now allowed more than 1.3 million migrants to come into the U.S. So take a look at this. According to that CBP data, about 530,000 migrants have now flown into the U.S. as part of the Biden administration's controversial mass parole program for Cubans, Haitians, Nicaraguans, and Venezuelans. It's called the CHNV program. Now, more than 200,000 of them have been Haitians coming in, and at least two of those Haitians were arrested for sexually assaulting children this year. Take a look. Earlier this month, Haitian national Akeem Mar.
So 2 out of 200,000? Well, we got to kill every Haitian then, I guess. Goddamn, lock them all up, dude.
Mark Desire was arrested for allegedly molesting a 10-year-old boy in Massachusetts. He first flew into the U.S. as part of the CHNV parole program in June of 2023. Then back in March, another Haitian national, Corey Alvarez, was arrested for aggravated child rape. That's after prosecutors say he raped a girl in a migrant hotel outside of Boston. He also flew into the U.S. as part of the CHNV parole program back in June of 2023. Now,
You do realize that TPS implies that, which these guys have, implies that they had a clean background, right? Like they didn't have a prior criminal record when they came in. That's why they got the TPS authorization, and that people are capable of just doing crimes even if they had no crimes prior. It's literally black crimes from Breitbart or Stormfront. I forget which one. It's Breitbart. Breitbart used to have the black crime tab. There's 2 people who harass children at every single Catholic school. It's also crazy to consider that like they just straight up said 1.3 million migrants, and here's 2 of them that committed crimes. If the crime per capita rankings for undocumented and documented migrants like this, okay, especially when looked as a collective, if you look at undocumented migrants and documented migrants, and you look at their crime crime statistics, they are so unimaginably low in comparison to natural born U.S. citizens. Like, is not even a question. The per capita crime statistics for undocumented and also documented migrants in the United States is so insanely low. Okay? So insanely low. It is ridiculous to hyper focus on it unless you're a racist piece of shit.
Now, there's a second program. According to CBP data, since January 2023, more than 800,000 migrants have now been allowed into the U.S. via the Biden administration's use of the controversial CBP One cell phone app. That allows migrants to book appointments at ports of entry to be released into the U.S. That includes nearly 45,000 migrants last month alone, an average of nearly 1,500 migrants coming in every single day. And this year, Kenal Baptiste, a Haitian national who came into the U.S. in July 2023 via that cell phone app, was arrested in New York and charged with a double murder after he allegedly stabbed 2 men to death. And back out here live, these 2 programs combined together have been bringing in roughly 70,000 to 80,000.
Chat, I can't begin to explain to you how insanely racist this is. This is like, dude, this is really fucked up. Like what they're doing is so insane. This is like Breitbart having a black crime tab specifically. Are those statistics even real? In terms of like applications, yeah, I don't think that those are false. But like, think about it. They're literally they've shown 3 crimes out of like almost 1 million people, dude. That is not like, in terms of stopping crime, it is ridiculous. It is ridiculous to be like, look, Haitians are doing so much crime. Dog, there's like 500,000 Haitians in Florida. What the are you talking about? The statistical likelihood of a Haitian person doing crime is far lower than the statistical likelihood of an American citizen doing crime. What the are you talking about? Like, the reason why they're showing you that is specifically to be like, see, the Haitians are up to no good. They are really, they're prone to do crimes. They're genetically inferior. They're racially inferior. They're going to do crimes. They're violent barbarians. And it's like, but the stats literally show the opposite. Like, what the are you talking about?
Migrants every single month, and those migrants are not counted in Border Patrol data because they are not illegal crossings. So yes, Border Patrol numbers have been down significantly this year, but those numbers are not a true reflection of the amount of people who are being allowed into the country. Wow. Bill, we'll send it back to you.
Okay, Bill, thanks. Stay on it. I know you will. Bill Malugin in Chicago today. Thank you.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube.
Yeah, by the way, the argument that they're making now is not even like undocumented criminals are, doing crime. They're now saying documented migrants are doing crime. They're saying documented Haitian migrants are doing crime. When you look at the data for the likelihood of a documented migrant doing crime, it is so insanely low. It's even lower than undocumented migrants. And the number for undocumented migrants is also very low. But for documented migrants, it's even lower. So now we're just like, now we are just straight up lying at that point. Okay? But the goalpost has now officially firmly moved into, actually, we don't want legal immigrants in the country either. Okay? Like, it's no longer about undocumented immigrants. Now it is, well, I would say that it never really was about just undocumented immigrants. You'd be an idiot if you think that that was the case. It always has and always will be white supremacy. Okay, it is always the idea that they're changing the genetic makeup of America. They're changing the demographics of America. Demographics are of destiny. they are doing white genocide. It always comes back to that age-old racist canard, the white supremacist rallying cry. Do you feel like liberals are backtracking on immigration policies offers credence to this type of anti-immigrant rhetoric? Yes, I have been saying this for months, but I've also been saying this for years. But it's especially relevant in the last couple of months since Biden came out with a right-wing white nativist anti-immigrant bill.
Is already spilling out on the campaign trail, including in new comments by Trump's running mate, JD Vance, where he appears to use what happened in Florida to fire up the supporters. Caitlin.
Oh, shit. Joe Rogan.
Whoever's helping her, whoever's coaching her, whoever's the puppet master running the strings.
Yeah.
You know.
We should all call the campaign and say they're from Erie County, Pennsylvania, and won't vote for her unless she goes left. No, you should call her and say you're from Erie County, Pennsylvania, and say if she doesn't do NATO, you're not voting for her. And just hang up. Just do that. That's me. That's my take. If Kamala Harris doesn't do NATO like Brandon did NATO, I'm not voting for her. As a matter of fact, even if she does do NATO, I'm still not voting for her. Why? Because I'm voting for Joseph Robinette Biden, okay? The real president. The current president. It's really fucked up what they did to him. I was one of the 14 million voters, okay? That's right. I'm saying it.
An amazing job.
She did a great job.
They did an amazing job from the moment Biden drops out, forcing Biden to drop out. Right, whatever they're doing, whoever's writing those speeches, getting her to deliver them, coaching her, she's nailing it. She nailed that one speech. She's like, say it to my face.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's cheering.
Yeah, she nailed it, dude.
And then
also, remember the New York Times did a study after 2020 that determined real undecided voters were a myth. Almost everyone they studied already had selected their vote early. The reason they were undecided is they were undecided why they are voting for that person. So they work backwards to justify it later using what the candidates do/say.
And last night, to me, when I was like, oh my God, this is jujitsu, where she was like, if you go to his rallies, his crowds are boring, they're tired, they all leave her. My crowds are the best crowds. I have the #1 crowd. He couldn't help himself.
And she got him. She baited him on that. She walked him right into it.
100%. 100%. See, the difference in that debate was not a difference in like who's going to have better policies, who's going to be better for the country. The difference in the debate, in my opinion, was who was better prepared. She was way better prepared.
Yeah, dude, Trump totally has better policies. I love when people just say this because like Kamala Harris objectively policyless, but it's not like Trump has any policies either. What is this idiotic double standard that every smart thinker always posts about? Like they're always chirping about this shit.
Yeah.
And even when it came to answering tough questions, instead of answering, she would just say things that she believes.
Yeah, sure.
And they sounded real good.
Yeah, that's
the soundbite.
That's called being a savvy politician.
It's also called being someone who's working with a team versus someone who's like, they said Trump, that deal was the best deal. They've never seen a deal like this before. They said, how did you put that deal together?
People say that was just brilliant. Yeah, I know. It's like
he's not working with a team that's like, I mean, I know he's doing like mock debates. I know he did one with, I think he did one with Tulsi Gabbard, but someone needs to like tell him, like, you've got these tiny little windows and you should have all the words ready for those windows.
He started
there should be no repeating things.
COVID would have never happened if Trump was president. That's fire. Bro, do you really need to run so many ads? You're already a millionaire. I'm trying to learn about leftist policies and I'm inundated, assaulted by capitalist framing and societal conditioning. Jesus Christ. I'm a capitalist. I love capitalism. Capitalism is when you run ads. Socialism is when no ad. The friend who's too woke? Yeah. Shut up, nerd. Genuine question. Why do you shit on NATO so hard? Is it the Western imperialism? Are there other reasons? Excuse me. You are talking to the only eligible NATO voter right now because the last NATO voter is now in federal prison. Okay? How dare you? How dare you, sir? How dare you come here and tell me that I shit on NATO so hard? I love NATO and the Nazi generals that were in charge of it, that Americans put into positions of power, and also all the fascist groups that they worked with in Western Europe and also in Turkey. I love the ultra-nationalist gray wolves that were propped up by NATO to operate as a right-wing paramilitary death squad in my country. Okay? I love that. I'm a fan of that. I'm a radical NATOist, and that's why I'm voting for Biden.
And Huey Burns is in Michigan, where the former president will campaign today. Caitlin, good morning.
And good morning to you, Nate. Well, the former president is not changing any plans, and he is continuing his campaign as usual. But he is adding to his messaging, blaming Vice President Kamala Harris for what happened on Monday. The former president said that Harris and President Biden's rhetoric is, quote, causing me to be shot at. And his running mate, JD Vance, echoed that sentiment while on the campaign trail in Georgia yesterday.
But you know the big difference between conservatives and liberals is that no one has tried to kill Kamala Harris.
I have some Afghanis that might have a cool idea for you. Yes, I've been in contact with Ryan. He put me in contact with the 1,000 NATO-trained Afghan soldiers, and I'm sending them to Gaza, okay? I'm sending them to Gaza. We're doing NATO in Gaza. As in, Palestine is now, historic Palestine is now a part of NATO, okay? I'm sending those guys into Gaza.
In the last couple of months, and 2 people now have tried to kill Donald Trump in the last couple of months. I'd say that's pretty strong evidence that the left needs to tone down the rhetoric and needs to cut this crap out.
Now, Biden and Harris have denounced the violence, and Harris said everyone must do their part to make sure this incident doesn't lead to...
The people at my DSA meeting said you're a fake leftist. That's so funny. Oh, no. I lost the DSA vote, dude. Did they do that in between snaps in order not to, you know, stimulate those with some auditory processing issues? Is that what happened?
To more violence. And today, Trump returns to the battleground state of Michigan, holding a town hall here in Flint. CBS News polling shows a virtual dead heat here in Michigan, and the real fight in this state is over union workers. The United Auto Workers Union has endorsed Harris, but another key union endorsement from the Teamsters is up for grabs. Teamsters President Sean O'Brien, who spoke at the Republican National Convention earlier this summer, met with Harris yesterday as part of that decision-making process. And O'Brien said a decision on who or if the union endorses a candidate.
He's an undecided voter.
It could come as soon as tomorrow. And as for the Harris campaign, the vice president is going to be traveling to Pennsylvania today. And on Thursday, she will be right here in Michigan hosting a live stream with Oprah Winfrey. Tony?
Caitlin, thank you very much.
A record low number of Americans say they are still undecided and on how they plan to vote in November. That as the clock is, of course, ticking for Kamala Harris and Donald Trump to try to win those voters over less than 50 days. CNN's senior data reporter Harry Enton is joining us now. How many are there? Because it's kind of hard to believe.
It's kind of hard to believe, but the bottom line is that 4% in the average of polls, 4% of voters say that they are undecided. That is just half the level that we saw in 2020, well less than the 10% we saw at this point in 2016. So the bottom line is, in this particular election, Kamala Harris and Donald Trump are focusing their attention on this tiny, tiny sliver, much lower than we're used to. In fact, it's the lowest level of undecideds that we've seen in polling at this point this entire 21st century.
You know what? That is not surprising at all, that number is so low. But within the margin of error, all the polls that you've been looking at, that number is extremely significant.
Exactly. It can make all the difference in the world.
So what do these undecideds care about? What are their big issues?
What are their top...
Let me guess. They want tax cuts. They want deregulation. They want more war. They want NATO. They want to kill immigrants. And if Kamala Harris doesn't secure all 5 of these at the same time, these undecideds will vote for the Republican Party. Except they will vote for the Republican Party even after Kamala Harris makes a pledge to do all 5 of those things that they want. So let's see.
Top issues. Well, perhaps not surprisingly, 30% say the economy, inflation. That's number one. But number two, They actually don't have a top issue. 28% say there is no top issue, which perhaps isn't so surprising given that they're probably not as tuned into politics. They might care more about the characteristics of the candidates themselves rather than the issues that they represent. But I think that you get this.
I love that American media totally looks at like the absolute dumbest people in society and consistently props them up as like the only people that matter in the conversation. It's great. I think we are actively positioning people to be even dumber and dumber.
Large chunk of undecideds, right, or the large chunk within the undecideds who say there's no top issue, that of course makes it difficult for the campaigns to go after them, because what exactly are you going to talk about to the folks who say, wait a minute, we don't have a top issue?
Right. That's a hard thing, but obviously the economy, that is the issue that seems to be across all. So there are a lot of people, we just sort of mentioned this, that don't really understand how anyone could be undecided at this point in the election cycle and with this particular election. So what's the deal?
What's the deal? Well, I think this might sort of get at it. 2024 is the most important election of my life. 72% of Trump backers say it is, 70% of Harris backers say it is, but just 24% of undecideds say it is. So the bottom line is they don't actually think there's that much on the line going on here, and that is, I think, part of the reason why they're willing to stay back and just say, you know what, I don't really necessarily like either of these folks. I don't think this is the most important election, so you know what, I'm going to continue to be undecided. Of course, there's just 4% of them, but that 4%...
Okay, I take it back. They're actually brilliant.
is going to make all the difference in the world come November.
They very well could. But if they're not paying attention, like you said, they might start paying attention as we get very, very, very close to the election.
Exactly. But at this point, they just don't really think 2024 is that important. So that's why they're not paying attention.
All right, Harry. And we know we think is important, but there's that. All right, Kate.
All right, joining us right now is Republican Congressman from Florida, Trump.
Remember, the average undecided in focus groups usually holds two views that counter each other easily. Yeah, exactly. They literally in the same breath will say, I love immigrants. I work with immigrants every day. They're wonderful and they help the economy. And then they'll be like, we have to deport every single one of them. And not a single one of them will ever turn around and be like, is this inherently contradicting? They will not. They will never question it. And because of the way that American society, American exceptionalism, and American individualism works, those unique snowflakes are truly brilliant, and you have to treat them as though they are truly brilliant and not like what you just said is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Ryan Ruth is that man, okay? Seemingly he made up his mind at the end, but if you look at his like political opinions over the course of many, many years as we did, you will realize what it looks like in the mind of an average undecided swing voter, okay? Make no mistake, I'm not saying like, oh, dude, you're like, I don't know if they're conflating undecided voters with unconvinced voters, okay? I suspect that there's a little bit of that going on in a lot of these instances, because the idea of like undecided is basically like, I could vote for Trump or I could vote for Kamala. I'm undecided. When in fact, many people are not conflicted between the two, even though if you ask the New York Times, they only care about people who are conflicted between the two, which is very frustrating because most people aren't like that, okay? It's actually people that are deciding between voting or sitting on the couch. Yeah, Ryan Ruth was undecided between voting for Kamala Harris or shooting Donald Trump.
Campaign surrogate Byron Donalds. Congressman, it's good to see you. Thank you for coming in. Bouncing off the conversation that Harry and Sarah were just having, how undecided do you think the diminishing number of undecided voters really are this election at this point?
I believe there's somewhat.
I also have a firm commitment. I have a genuine belief that like every undecided voter is just a Republican voter. I believe that. Like, because if you look at a guy like Donald Trump and you're like, I'm undecided about, I want to go out and vote, but I don't know. Let me hear out this Trump guy. Like, yeah, you're probably a Trump guy. Aren't you undecided? No, dude. What the I should probably say I'm undecided Maybe then the New York Times will interview me so I can talk about Israel, and then they'll definitely not put that in the article. Huh. No, I'm not undecided. I'm riding in Biden, baby. I'm riding in Biden. Dude, at this point, please, dude, if you were a former Trump voter and you're claiming to be undecided, what the f do you need to hear? How many former Trump voters who are still currently undecided exist? Get the f out of here, dude. No, they're voting for Donald Trump, but they're still like kind of embarrassed about it. Okay, that's it. Suck my dick. If you claim to be undecided between Kamala and Trump at this point, and you're a lifelong Republican voter and you voted for Trump twice, you're gonna vote for Trump. Like, what are we doing? Of course you're gonna vote for Trump. It's so transparent. It's so stupid. Not even last week you were saying, I don't know who I'm voting for, but I'll never vote for Trump or something similar. No, last week I was also saying I'm voting for Biden. I'm riding in Biden, baby. Also, I'm a political commentator. There's a lot of people who want to cast aside my commentary by simply saying, oh, he's a Harris supporter, or oh, he's a Trump supporter. That is the reason why I do not declare who I would be supporting in the election. It's because people want to say, oh, he's not going to vote for Kamala Harris, so don't listen to him. Everything he says, it's not about like who I'm voting for at all. It's actually entirely about how to make my commentary seem less relevant. So of course, make up your own goddamn minds, okay? Trump supporter, nah, people only want to know if you'll vote for Harris or not. Yeah, exactly. And for the record, I'm unconvinced. And not only that, but also, I'm riding in Biden. Step aside, liberals. You will not be able to convince me. What you did to Joseph Robinette Brandon was inexcusable. And I, as an AUKUS voter, me and Ryan Ruth, are going to hold hands at the poll, and we're going to go cast a ballot. We're going to write in Biden.
Undecided. I think they're juggling through the realities of America. Number one, the economy, this massive inflation created by Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. The immigration problems in our country are real. They're looking at that. But then I also do believe they're having the...
For the record, I'm not on one team or another, okay? I'm on whoever advances and improves the material conditions of the working class, okay? That's whose side I'm on. And neither party is even remotely trying to make a convincing case that they are on the side of the working class. Neither party is doing that. So I will forever criticize both parties for not doing that. Okay?
Juggle with also a lot of the rhetoric that's out there in terms of where the country's going and who's going to protect the country. And I think if you look at the facts are very clear that Donald Trump addresses the issues that concerns Americans, the economy, our borders, and our foreign policy. And what Vice President Harris is talking about is not those issues.
There are people that literally
Less
say they
than
decided
2 months
the
until
ballot
the
box.
election, and we can hear the candidates' voices nearly every day. But what about voters? Since June, the NewsHour has followed a group of undecided voters from across the country and across the political spectrum.
What if I'm an undecided voter who really cares about NATO? There was only one candidate who did NATO, and now he's not in the race. I cried that day. Yeah, I mean, I'm that voter. It's me. It's Ryan Ruth. We are together. We are committed. Okay? Joe Biden did NATO, and he's going to do Taiwan. It's me. It's Ryan Ruth. It's Van Jones.
In our latest installment of the Deciders series, we found some movement and a lot of thoughts.
My name is Stephen Beck, and I'm from Madison, Alabama.
No, you heard a lot of statements. You didn't hear a lot of thoughts. You heard a lot of statements, but not a lot of thoughts. You heard the opposite of thoughts, in my opinion.
In past election cycles, I have not been undecided. This would probably be the first time I've been truly undecided, especially this late in the game.
Wait. Ask him who he voted for.
My name is Jessica Dalton. I'm from Salt Lake City, Utah. Undecided, I think, is too vague of a term. I've always been open to listen to what each candidate has to offer and making my decision based on who the candidate is rather than what the party is offering.
I'm Zach Warren, and I'm 35 years old, based in Chambersburg, Pennsylvania.
I'm one of those voters that does wait to the last second. I remember even back to like 2008 and 2012 and 16. I always wake up on election day and make that choice because there's a lot of things that can happen between now and
This is okay. This guy's awesome. Also, chat, this man is 2 years older than me. This man is only 2 years older than me.
November.
My name is Stephen Stone. I'm in Brooklyn. I have to choose between Kamala or just not voting for the president in this election.
I'm Robert Lilly.
That guy was cool. I
from
could tell.
Wickenburg, Arizona. I typically don't decide, and for sure, I'm not 100% until election time.
My name is Anna, and I live in the suburb of Phoenix, Arizona. Before the debate, I was already against Trump. That's not happening. I don't trust either of them as commander-in-chief or even as necessarily head of government.
I would say that neither lived up to my expectations. One of the things that I had difficulty with throughout the entire debate was the lack of specifics.
It seems like a race to the bottom more than anything. It's not about anybody having any sort of real ideology and the concerns of the majority of American people's at heart. It felt very much about just being better than your competitor.
She went in for the handshake. That actually meant something to me. I think civility is going to be the number one thing. We have to get back to that before we can get back to anything else.
What was interesting and not surprising from Donald Trump was how easily he was baited into getting his ego hurt.
There's just too many lies told by Kamala Harris in the debate, and I expect that to go on.
She did a fantastic job during that debate. I thought that there was some policy depth that was offered. I did feel when I was watching it that they did question him more than they questioned her on some things.
I expected them to say what they said. I would have appreciated additional specifics. I'm sure that in the coming months, I'll be able to do some more additional research. I'll take some time to look and examine that more closely.
After watching Harris come into the debate and how she handled herself, there's no question in my mind that I will be voting for Harris and Walz.
I'm holding out hope and believing that potentially some of these other movements, these leftist movements, again, the Green Party to move her more left as opposed to the right. It does not feel good. At best, I would be holding my nose to vote for Kamala.
Yes!
Not knowing enough about her is part of the indecisiveness as far as who.
Finally, dude, this is the first time I've ever heard someone openly state this in any one of these like different polls where the guy's like, thank God. Thank Christ, dude. There's like one.
Who I'm going to vote for at this point.
Donald Trump,
Great message, but Greens, come on, man. He didn't say he's voting for Jill Stein. He said he hopes that the Green Party will be able to convince and move Kamala Harris to the left, which they won't.
I see as just a much lesser of two evils. And so that's the man I had to vote for.
These are not easy decisions to make. They touch on so many aspects of our lives, and they don't just affect us individually, they affect us globally.
He's still a dumbass, Hassan. Quit glazing. Why is he a dumbass? He's right. What? Why is he a dumbass? He's right. He's saying it's ridiculous to demand someone's vote without making any concessions whatsoever. Bro, go back 200 IQ with that Green Party shit. No, he's silly for thinking that the Democratic Party is going to move to the left, but he just used the Greens as an example. He didn't say he's voting for the Green Party, did he? Did I miss it? No, he just said he hopes that leftist movements or the Green Party will be able to convince and move Kamala Harris to the left. And unless that happens, he's not going to vote. That's a good thing, dude. You should, if you ever get a call like from one of these places, you should say that. You should say that all the time.
Leading up to Election Day, I'm looking forward to Vice President Harris and Governor Walz speaking more to their economic policies, specifically their small business initiatives. I think those are very important, as well as childcare. I think those go hand in hand, and their stance on women's health care.
I wish I could vote for my values in this election. I'll still be voting because there's a lot of down ballot votes that...
Okay, this dude is literally here. Okay, which one of you is this guy? Come on, cop to it. Like, come on.
Are important to me, as you know, they should be to everyone.
not voting is never an option. That is my privilege as an American citizen. People have laid down their lives for that, and I will vote in every election that I'm asked to vote in.
As divisive as it is, I still think that I still have like this belief that we're going to be okay and that we're going to do the right thing and that things are going to be all right.
Oh. Could we get a percentage take on Trump/Harris? Who do you think is on top right now? It's Harris. Last guy said civility is his top issue. That's so funny because, like, again, that guy's voting for Trump. You want to know why? Because if he's saying civility is his top issue and he's still undecided at this point, then he's voting for Trump. Because if you don't think Trump is uncivil, an uncivilized monster, okay? Also, I hate that, like, CNN has this clown talking about undecided voters. Like, I don't want to watch the rest of this. It's just so annoying.